I was digging through some municipal economic reports this morning.
Oh, the fun stuff.
Exactly, a great way to ruin a Saturday. But I found a number that just stopped me cold. I honestly thought it was a typo in the spreadsheet.
I think I know which line item you're talking about. It stands out like a sore thumb in a standard financial report.
It really does. I mean, if I told you there was an asset class right here in Montreal generating a $23 return for every single dollar invested, where does your mind even go?
You'd think high-frequency trading, maybe. Some lucky bet on crypto.
Right, or maybe some AI startup that just went public. But no, you're looking at something much more grounded.
It's not stocks, it's youth mentoring.
Exactly. That $23 return is coming from a local youth mentoring program. It just completely flips the script on what we consider profitable.
Well, it forces you to rethink how you measure value in a city's economy, right? We're so used to looking at GDP or stock tickers, but this is a different kind of yield.
It is, and it sets the perfect stage for today.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Saturday, January 31st, 2026. And if you're walking around Montreal today, you might sense that the city feels, well, different.
It's a really fascinating moment, and we're not just talking about the usual construction cones, though. We have plenty of those.
Oh, we do.
We're seeing a fundamental shift in how Montreal moves, how it cares for its living beings, both human and animal, and crucially, how it makes money.
We have a massive stack of sources to get through. We've got social infrastructure reports, heavy industrial analyses, budget breakdowns. We're going to cover the boom in the East End with the PSE.
The surprising economic windfall from political instability in the U.S.
And a pretty futuristic look at how Chinese automakers and robotaxis might just solve our public transit problems.
But we have to start with that $23 figure, because that's the soft infrastructure. And if this data is right, it's proving to be just as powerful as concrete and steel. Okay, so let's unpack it. The project is called Le Petit Mentor, the Little Mentors. It's based out of the Elgar Community Center on Nuns Island.
And, when you think of a community center program, you think of, what, swimming lessons, bingo night.
Sure, nice to have, but not an economic engine.
Right. But this project, instigated by Rosie Kirilova, is different. It flips the script. The concept is simple. Older youth mentoring younger kids. But they aren't just babysitting.
That's the part that grabbed me. The sources describe structured activities. They're working on fine motor skills. They're doing meal prep together. It's active, not passive.
And that's where the math comes in. To get back to that ROI, that $23, we should be clear, this is calculated using SROI, social return on investment.
Right. So for anyone listening who isn't an accountant, this isn't cash landing in a bank account today. It's about avoided costs, future gains, that sort of thing.
Exactly. The economic indicator reference data looks at the long game. It counts the value of keeping parents in the workforce because they have reliable care. It counts the soft skills the teens develop.
Uh-huh.
It even factors in preventing future social service costs because these kids are on a better track.
Yeah.
When you add all those invisible dollars up,
You get $23 in societal benefit for every dollar put in. I mean, that is just staggering efficiency.
and the impact on the kids themselves is quantifiable. The mentored youth are 17% more likely to hold stable employment later in life. That's a huge bump.
And the confidence aspect, 98% report increased confidence. 87% say they've developed support networks outside their family.
In a world where we're talking about a social isolation crisis, that's a critical stat. You're building social resilience.
There's also a really cool cultural angle here, the Elgar Center. It isn't just operating in French or English. The sources mention activities in Bulgarian, Portuguese, Russian, Arabic.
Which is vital for a city like this. It acts as a rapid integration tool for immigrant families. It builds community connection way faster than any government pamphlet ever could.
And it's expanding. It's not just a Nuns Island experiment. You've got Les Scale in Montreal North, Big Brothers Big Sisters on Sherbrooke. It's becoming a citywide web.
Which brings us to another kind of safety net.
Yeah.
One that also saw a massive shift on January 1st, but this time it's for our four-legged residents.
This is the opening of the new centralized Animal Services Center on Pi X. And looking at the specs, this is not a small operation.
Not at all. It's managed by the nonprofit Pro Anima. It's a, $152.9 million contract over 10 years. The facility is 39,000 square feet, a massive municipal commitment.
So the listener might ask, why now? Why go so big on animal services? And the sources point to a crisis in 2025.
We really hit a breaking point. The stats show a 26% increase in animal abandonments in the first half of 2025 alone. The old system just couldn't handle it.
That's just heartbreaking. And read between the lines, this was economic.
Entirely. It was a housing crisis. You had no pet clauses in leases, rising cost of living. It forced people into terrible choices. The shelters were overflowing.
So this new center is the response. But what's fascinating, and this links back to our theme of social infrastructure, it's not just a pound.
No, it's not just a place to drop off a stray dog. It's designed as a
Social innovation hub.
Precisely. It connects animal welfare and human welfare.
Yeah.
So it offers temporary housing for pets of people experiencing homelessness or hospitalization.
Yeah.
But even more critically, it supports victims of domestic violence.
I've read about this. People stay in abusive situations because they're terrified the abuser will hurt their pet if they leave.
It's a tool of coercive control. So by providing a safe place for the animal, this center removes that specific barrier for the victim to seek safety. It's a public health intervention disguised as animal control.
Wow. And they're also opening a community vet clinic with reduced rates for low-income citizens. It's a very holistic approach.
It is. So we've covered the soft power.
Yeah.
Now let's pivot to the hard stuff, the concrete and steel.
Yeah.
We need to look east.
The East End. For years, all we heard about was the Iam de l'Est and the controversy over those huge concrete pillars, the wall effect.
Well, that project is dead and buried. In its place, we have the PSE, the Projet Structural de l'Est, and the whole philosophy is different.
It's a tram train or light rail, but the key is ground-level integration. It's about 32 kilometers connecting downtown to Pointe-aux-Trembles and Cégep Marie Victorin.
The budget is huge, $10 to $13 billion. But ridership projections are solid over 100,000 daily users. But the key insight from the planning docs is that the PSE isn't just about moving commuters downtown.
No, it's an economic engine. It's designed to unlock a specific zone called 40 Net Zero.
Sounds like a movie title.
It does, but it's a 10 million square foot territory for the green economy.
It's the future of industrial decarbonization for the city. The goal is attracting $3.5 billion in private investment by 2030, creating somewhere between 15,000 and 22,000 jobs.
So here's the logic puzzle.
No one.
You can't have a net zero industrial zone if the 20,000 people who work there are all driving in gas-powered cars.
Right. It completely defeats the purpose. You'd be building a green zone that creates a giant traffic jam.
Exactly. So the PSE is the prerequisite. It makes a 15-minute neighborhood model possible in an industrial sector. It's transit-oriented development for industry, not just condos.
Speaking of industry, we have to talk about aerospace. There has been a huge shakeup with Bombardier
A historic one. They've ended operations at the old St. Laurent site.
and consolidated everything in Dorval. It's a $534 million investment to create this new, optimized hub for their Global and Challenger jets.
So leaving St. Laurent, that frees up a massive piece of land.
A huge opportunity for what planners call urban stitching, redeveloping that area to reconnect neighborhoods. But the real story isn't just the move, it's the pivot in strategy.
You mean the defense angle?
Yes, Montreal's aerospace sector is aggressively pivoting to a dual strategy, civil and defense.
The list of contracts is pretty impressive. You've got Bombardier Defense finishing the Global 6500 multi-mission aircraft in Dorval.
Those are for medical evacs, VIP transport. And then you've got CAE landing the massive Skyline contract. They'll be training RCAF pilots for the next 25 years.
That is a generational contract.
It secures Montreal's status as a global simulation capital. And it's not just planes. You've got Rheinmetall with a $325 million contract for heavy tactical trucks. Bell Textron modernizing the Griffin helicopter fleet.
It's a reflection of a global reality. The world is less stable, defense spending is up, and Montreal is positioning itself to supply that demand.
Which brings us to a fascinating paradox. The world gets more dangerous.
And somehow, Montreal is making money from that instability, specifically from what's happening south of the border.
It's what economists call the communicating vessels effect. Pressure in one vessel, the fluid moves to the other.
And the pressure is political instability, trade tensions, visa anxiety in the U.S., and the beneficiary vessel is the Palais des Congrès.
The numbers back it up. A surge in economic benefits to $438 million, up $43 million in 2024. But it's not just volume, it's who is coming.
Right. It's a specific influx of medical and scientific conventions, life sciences.
These are high-spending delegates, and the reason they're choosing Montreal is that international researchers are afraid they won't get visas to enter the U.S., or they just don't want to deal with the political climate.
It's seen as a neutral zone.
Precisely. The safe, stable North American alternative. So you see these big wins for 2026. The American Society of Retina Specialists, 2,500 delegates. The American Society of Human Genetics, 4,600 delegates.
These are groups that might have gone to Boston or Chicago before.
And now they're coming here. In 2026, stability is a high-value currency.
It really is. Okay, I want to shift gears completely. This next bit is a wild card from our sources that feels like science fiction, but the economic logic is frighteningly sound.
Let's do it. Robotaxis and Chinese auto manufacturers.
This is where urban planning gets really interesting. The theory is that Chinese manufacturers like BYD or NIO are looking at Quebec as a manufacturing hub.
And it's not just the cheap, clean power, though that's a huge part of it.
Right. Making your EV with 99.8% clean hydro is a massive marketing win.
But there's a trade angle, too. Producing locally helps bypass all the tariffs that are popping up everywhere.
Okay, so they build the cars here. The source describes a 3-act evolution for how we'll use them, and it's not about selling cars to individuals.
Right. Phase 1, that's now through 2030, is about making affordable EVs, filling that $25,000 to $35,000 gap that U.S. manufacturers have pretty much abandoned.
Which we desperately need. Most people can't afford a $60,000 car.
Exactly. Phase 2, 2030 to 2033, is flooding the zone with car-sharing fleets. Think Communauto, but with cheaper vehicles. But Phase 3, around 2034, that's the game changer.
Autonomous robotaxis.
And this connects right back to the PSE and the REM. This is the solution to the last-mile problem.
Explain that.
Right now, building an underground parking spot at a REM station costs between $40,000 and $60,000 per spot. That is incredibly expensive dead space.
Wait, just for one car, the cost just to dig the hole and pour the concrete?
Yes. It's inefficient capital. So the logic is, if you have a fleet of autonomous shuttles that pick you up at your door for a few dollars and drop you at the train.
You don't need the parking garage. The robotaxi feeds the heavy transit line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It lets developers build housing density instead of car storage. And for the average household, the analysis suggests it could cut transport costs by 50 to 60% by getting rid of the second car.
It's a symbiotic relationship between mass transit and individual autonomous transit.
It's a compelling vision, something the tech delivers.
Before we wrap up, we should look at the literal foundation of the city. The 2026 budget gives a snapshot of where the money is going, and it seems to be the riverfront.
It's a rebalancing toward the water.
Yeah.
A focus on Lachine, LaSalle, Verdun, and Le Sud-Ouest. Over $120 million in investment.
And this isn't just beautification, it's serious infrastructure.
It is. In Lachine East, they're spending $32 million on underground pipes and sewers to support 4,000 new housing units. You can't build density without the plumbing.
And Verdun is doing something called sponge streets.
An $8 million investment. The street is designed to absorb rainwater through permeable pavement instead of channeling it all into the sewer. It's direct climate adaptation to counter flooding.
And finally, good news for Griffintown. Mary Griffin Park is getting its funding.
$18 million. It's been a long wait, but essential for that neighborhood. And in LaSalle, they're renovating the Jacques Lemaire Sports Center to CO2 standards.
So when we step back and look at this whole picture of Montreal in early 2026, what do we see?
I see a city that's learning to leverage its soft assets, its social stability, its green energy, its welcoming nature to secure hard economic wins.
So it's landing defense contracts because it has the high-tech workforce.
And filling the convention center because the U.S. is chaotic.
Yeah.
And using youth mentoring to build a better workforce. There's a synergy there. The city is connecting the dots between social health and economic health.
It's a sophisticated ecosystem.
It is.
I want to leave you with a final thought from our robotaxi discussion. If that model really takes off, if the cheap EVs and autonomous shuttles actually work and we start building massive parking garages, we're going to gain a huge amount of space in our city.
It's the ultimate urban resource land.
Exactly. So the question for you is, what should a city do with all that reclaimed space? Do we build more parks?
More housing, maybe?
Or knowing us, do we just find a way to fill it with more traffic?
That is the billion-dollar question for the next decade, isn't it?
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us into the Montreal of 2026.
Always a pleasure.
Catch you next time.